Turn up the volume for this one. We got another big update on the economy today, and it's a very positive one. Inflation is down to 3%. That's lower than expected. Compare that to more than 9% back in June of 22. That is the lowest inflation has been in more than 2 years. Of course, it comes after 10 interest rate hikes from the Fed, which aren't easy, and there's almost certainly another one on the way coming soon. President Biden, no surprise, took credit for cooling inflation, saying good jobs and lower costs. That is Bidenomics in action. Well, I am thrilled to welcome back Justin Wolfers, a professor of economics and public policy at the University of Michigan. Justin, I didn't get to meet him, but I experienced your alter ego on Twitter today, Fed Lasso. So I'm hoping you're bringing a little Fed Lasso to us tonight. I really like that. It's clever. What's your big takeaway from today? It's really good news.
Look, the reason Fed Lasso had to come out is we economists are a little too glum too often, and it's time that someone tells the optimism the way it is. And look, the really good news is inflation has really been the bugbear that has hurt so many of us and held back any optimism about the state of the economy. And the worst days are behind us. But more than that, what we learned today is inflation's declining far faster than many people had realised or expected. But as you say, it's gone from 9%, that was an inflation crisis, down to 3%, and that's awfully close to being normal. And so I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at. And more importantly, there's lots of good reasons to expect inflation to keep on falling.
What's your top reason for that? Because housing costs, for example, are one of the biggest drivers that are still keeping things as high as they are. And it takes a while for housing costs to go down or to change. What's going to make that move?
That's exactly right, Stephanie. And it's actually a really subtle technical issue, which I'm going to bore you with for a moment. When we measure CPI, we go and measure all the leases in the economy to figure out what's going on with shelter prices, including those leases that were signed 6 months, 12 months, 18 months ago. Mm-hmm. If you want to know where things are going in real estate, you should look at the leases that were signed this month. And when you do that, you realize that the leases that were signed this month were about the same level as those signed a year ago. They might even be a bit cheaper. So, in fact, house prices have stopped rising.
That doesn't bore me at all, and I think it's a really I think it's a really important distinction that people forget. You lock in your leases, you lock in your mortgage. It takes a long time for people to realize this. That's very different from gas, where you see those prices, where it gets repriced constantly. Eggs and gas prices have gone down a ton, and while things do feel expensive at the grocery store, there is data. Egg prices, which were super high just a few months ago, have been cut in half. Why is it that the economy doesn't feel better for more Americans? Because these are really positive moves.
Yeah, in fact, egg prices are down 80% since the start of the year. Look, but
they weren't ridiculously expensive at the beginning of the year. Just give me that.
They're just back to normal, and I like normal. Normal's fantastic. Look, when you ask people about the state of the economy, they think you're asking about what you think about their partisan preferences. It's like asking me, a University of Michigan professor, what I think of Ohio State. They could be playing well, but I'm never going to say it out loud. Now, instead, if you ask people, how's your life doing? What's going on? Do you think it's easy to find work? Do you expect to get wage rises? Are you worried about losing a job? All of a sudden, there is this incredible optimism. People understand the reality as it applies to their own lives. But if you ask them about the economy, they start looking at it through these partisan lenses, and they tell themselves stories that are completely at odds with their reality. And the reality is we've got unemployment at a 50-year low, inflation declining back to normal levels. I want to add one more that we haven't talked enough about. Inequality is on the way down as well.
Well, I want to devote an entire show to that. So we don't have more time right now. But if you want to talk about inequality improving, we always want to make more time for that. Justin, always great to see you. Or is his new name? I mean, you're such a nerd. I love it. Fed Lasso. You are my kind of nerd, Justin Wolfers. Really good to see you.